From the Oakland Hills to Jack London Square, from the port to the Coliseum, this is Talk of the Town, an in-depth conversation about the people and issues important to Oakland.
Hello, I'm Dave Clark. Thank you for joining me here on Talk of the Town. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and it's a pleasure to be with my two guests. Two incredible men from the city of Oakland who are doing great things, working on great things. Courtney Smith and Nana Kofi Edit.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you both for making time for being here.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure.
And I asked you to be here. One, I've known you for many years.
Yes.
Courtney, we're just meeting, but we're going to get to know each other a lot.
Absolutely.
But I like the work you're doing to try to create new things and make Oakland a better place. You're working with Hope Academy,
Yes.
among other things.
Yes.
Tell me what Hope Academy is.
So Hope Academy was created to target African American entrepreneurs. I currently own a behavior science branding firm, and we will work with a lot of African American companies. And we started discovering that we had some challenges that was beyond just the X's and O's and intelligence. We started seeing some paradigm challenges, some behavior challenges that were kind of consistent across the nation with a lot of our African American clients. Mm-hmm. And so we built this academy to kind of address some of those challenges. And when we summarize it, we kind of say that we built Hope Academy to address the impact of slavery, Jim Crow, the crack era, and how that impacts our business decisions. And you'd be surprised how much has had impact on our business decisions.
In what way?
Well, so the first thing is, to simplify it, is that, you know, African Americans in this country, we've always been a working class. So because we're a working class, when it comes time to build a business, we kind of start from the angle of a working class, right? So as a business, and we realize that when you run a business, you have to develop a building class mindset. It's a total different mindset. Number two, we've always been defensive because we had to protect ourselves. And in business, you have to develop an offensive mindset. And so we discovered there's a whole bunch of different principles that we are not familiar with, things we cannot see, things we don't understand, because our whole time in this country has been in a defensive role and in a working class role. And so to transition people from the working class paradigm to a building class paradigm, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So Courtney, how did you get involved with this? I've seen Nana through the years. How did you get involved with Hope Academy?
I started my business in 2014. I have an athletic brand out of Oakland.
Okay.
We do team uniforms and athletic apparel. And it was gaining some traction. And over time, it got to a point to where I was ready to build something, to do something positive and help entrepreneurs the same way. So I said, before I do this, let me check to see if it's anything out there
It's already there, yeah.
And so, you know how sometimes the algorithms start checking for you once you start searching for things. And so these Hope commercials start popping up on my Facebook.
Okay.
And I recognized all those faces because I was going to build the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to this brother and we had an amazing conversation and we aligned in so many different places. You know, we thought it was the best idea to join forces in terms of like making that impact stronger together. And so that's how I got here. And so we 4 or 5 years strong.
Yeah.
And I think it's been an amazing journey, an amazing partnership, as well as really showing what it looks like for people to put egos together and come together and work for the greater good.
Yeah.
So Nana, Hope Academy, how do you find people to work with to help teach, and how do they find you?
Yeah, so first thing is first that part of our method is to only have entrepreneurs train entrepreneurs. Because we want practitioners on the ground level teaching. We don't want, what we discovered is, we started seeing an epidemic of people who were not entrepreneurs training entrepreneurs, and they didn't own context, right? And so if I'm giving you strategies, imagine you give a chef a call, and you ask him how to make his famous dish, his or her famous dish, but you don't cook at all. right? You need someone to transfer the context. If you can't transfer the context, whatever you produce in your kitchen will not taste like what you what you taste from the chef.
Yeah.
And so what we look for is seasoned entrepreneurs that can actually assist us. And then of course we're online, and so we have a complete team that's helping us produce our show. And so we have individuals there's entrepreneurs in the audience who are part of the show. There's a complete team that's producing the production behind the scenes. And so but the core educators, we're looking for entrepreneurs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So tell me where the instruction is taking place, and I understand you have a great new space.
Yes.
Where this is happening and people are learning things. Tell me about it.
Yeah. So of course, so I own a for-profit company called 510 Media, and like I said, it's a behavioral science branding firm, and we do a lot of large contracts in the Bay Area. And so first we were holding the class within our studio, which is located in Jack London Square. And then we got a call from individuals over at Alameda College, because they were kind of going through some transitions, and they thought our program would be a perfect fit for their university.
This is the Alameda College.
Yeah, local college,
Yeah.
And so they invited us to the college. And so we've been in the college now for 2 years, right? 2 years.
Yeah.
And so we like the college. They put us in a nice the business building. It's a brand new building. They accommodate us every possible way. Super kind staff, a very progressive staff. And so now we host a class there. So we have an in-person class, plus we're streaming online. And we also this year we're giving all of our classes away for free. Because what we want to do is we want to shift the conversations that are happening out there.
Yeah.
We don't really focus on who we disagree with. We're focusing on just shifting the conversations, right? Mm-hmm. And so what we're trying to do is, because a lot of conversation around entrepreneurs is just, 1, 2, 3, 4, just, the fast way to become successful, or these ideas around quick fixes, or all you have to do is, or what you should do. And we realized that's just not how it works. Mm-hmm. And so we wanted to just kind of disrupt some of the dialogue that's happening around entrepreneurship. And so we're giving away the classes for free. They're on YouTube now, and we have a strong following on YouTube. And so we're really excited about this.
Go ahead, Courtney.
Yeah. Also, is what we also found is that you can say an intelligent thing. Our culture, we have different challenges, even in our approach to successful entrepreneurship. So we have a lot of emotional trauma and emotional damage that's separate from other cultures that we have to address first before we can get to the money. So if you grew up in a scarcity mindset at home, or you grew up in survival mode at home, then your IQ or your even ability to understand how to manage money and be entrepreneurship is going to be different than other cultures. So I can give you a book and you a book, but we will read it differently based on the lens of our trauma. So we also work through a lot of the emotional side of entrepreneurship and getting them prepared mentally and emotionally for it as well.
And that's a big deal for people in Oakland specifically, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oakland, what people don't know is that Oakland was a West Coast segregated city. And so, and it was defunded the defunding process started in the early 70s. And so a lot of our schools became defunded, a lot of our systems became defunded. And so a lot of times our cultures, we learn how to manage minimal resources under a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
Right. And so even in our program, once a year, we'll take at least 20 or 30 students up to Tahoe, and we'll have a trauma workshop where we spend 3 to 4 days just working through trauma, just working through it. I mean, just round the clock working with it. And we're currently going to start collaborating with a group called Sankofa, which is an African-American organization locally that focuses on dealing with the psychology state of African-Americans, locally. And but pretty much we take them to Tahoe, and we work through the process. And the breakthroughs we've had and on our trauma retreats have been amazing.
Hold that thought, because I want to hear about that. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with Nana Kofi and Courtney Smith of Hope Academy in Oakland. Yes. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back.
I know.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town. I'm Dave Clark, and again, I'm so glad you're with us. Our two guests, they're telling us about a wonderful program in Oakland called Hope Academy. Nana Kofi, Courtney Smith of Hope Academy. I really want to paint a picture of all that Hope Academy does in working with entrepreneurs. And you were just saying, it's not just black people who take advantage of what Hope Academy does.
No. So, which was kind of like a surprise to us,
Yeah.
right? When we first started, we kind of we owned the conversation around black people, right? Because that's something I've been in for at least 22 years. I've been focusing on just how to address black cultural issues. And so when we designed the class, we looked at some of the challenges that African Americans are dealing with, and we designed the class to address those challenges. And then all of a sudden we popped up and we realized we had a lot of Latino students. So, okay, cool. So, and they ride hard with us. They sit in that space with us. Then we looked up one day, we had Asian students. Then we looked up one day, we had Jewish students. Then we realized that, so the principles we're teaching are not black principles, but where we have angles, we speak from a black perspective. We distill things in a language. So a lot of times we wear hoodies and baseball caps in class. And the reason we do that is because we want to tell black folks that, hey, you don't have to be special, you just have to practice. Right? We're not gifted, we're not unique people, we just practice. And if we can do it, you can do it, right? But if we were to put on a suit and tie and sport coat, sometimes we send a message to African American that we're on this side of the fence or you're on that side of the fence. So we want to explain to them that no, we're just like you. We go to the same basketball games you go, we watch some of the same shows, the same music, and at the end of the day, what allowed us to be successful was just our practice. We just practice. And so and we use the same principles and models that every race use, but we're able to use a black pedagogy where we speak with a rhythm and a language, and we sound like the brother that you hang out on the corner with, right? And so we're able to distill these really, really complex ideas into really simple language. And I think that's one of our claim of fame, that when people come to our class, we have a lot of young people come to our class who are like 17, 18, 19. And they're going, I wish my teacher was like this, right? We have a wide range of people. So we have the PhD professionals, and we have a lot of individuals in our class who are PhD professionals, all the way down to the brother who's just still in the hood. And the love for our class is equal.
Courtney, I'm going to pick up on you in a second, but I want to go back to you I first knew you many, many years ago as one of the Bay Area's best photographers.
Thank you.
And I mean that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Top of the line photographer. Your business, 510 Media. I've always recommended you, and I'm just saying that.
Thank you.
What was it that got you straight as an entrepreneur, got you off and running?
So this is crazy. So Super Pro Black in the 20s. I think it was 20 or 21, read Malcolm X Speaks. And I was just upset. I was frustrated. So my first, I think, 10 years of discovering my blackness, I was super militant. I'm talking about unnecessarily defensively militant, right? And then at some point, somebody came to me one day and said, well, you're not pro-black unless you understand freedom. And I was like, what? He's like, if you can't build liberation, you're not really pro-black. And then when I had to wrap my mind around it, I realized I didn't know what that meant. Like, I really didn't know, well, what does it look like if we were actually free, right? And that was the conversation I started having. So I realized, wait a minute, and then you're walking around telling people what they should do, and you haven't built anything. So I told the young lady I was dating at the time, I said, listen, I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna just build my own business. And when I say I had $7,000 in the bank, and by the way, I'm proud that to this day I've never taken out a loan to grow my company, and my company is pretty strong. And I had $7,000. Thank you. $7,000 in the bank, and I met my business partner Mashama one day, and I asked him would he join me, and he said, well, why are you doing this? I said, because at some point I want to create a black version of Harlem where great black talent people come across each other and steal sharp and steal. And so that was the beginning of 510 Media. And then eventually, as we started to build our company, we realized a lot of things that we thought was the way the world works, it doesn't work that way. And we realized we were too defensive. We had to learn how to think more offensive. And being offensive is so give you an example. We had this class one time where I asked all the students in class, I said, let me ask you something. What's wrong with the black community? And the list just seemed like it was just going on and on and on and on. It was just
what's
wrong. What's wrong, right? And from racism to what we don't own, businesses, schools, everything, right? I said, okay, fine. Now we spent the majority of the class discussing what's wrong. Let's take the second half of class. Let's just discuss solutions.
And
3 total, 3.
Really?
2 really, but we forced on out the third one. And we realized that when you think defensive, it becomes a mental snag. You really can't think past that point. And so, because when you get to this defensive mindset, it undermines even your intelligence. You can be an extremely intelligent person, and most of your intelligence will be applied to the defensive side. But business is about creating and moving forward. I can't go back and change slavery, but I can go forward and build a future for our kids. And so, to shift our thinking towards moving forward, we realized that one of the things that a lot of African American people were suffering from was 2 things. One was extremely defensive, but 2, what caused the defensive thinking was we just didn't feel like we were good enough.
ooh,
Yeah, we just don't feel like we're good enough.
well, you're going right there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go right over to Courtney right now. You say a big issue and what you focus on with Hope Academy, the both of you, but you look at isolation and entrepreneurs who are isolated. Why is that a difficult or bad thing?
Dave, we grew up in the Bay, right? The Bay is known for being independent. The Bay is known for innovating in ideas and culture. And so we get a lot of credit for being an independent culture, but also that could be a double-edged sword. So in entrepreneurship, that's dangerous. It's dangerous. And it's because when you say, I don't need nobody, or I can do it all by myself, or if I need to get anything done, I got to do it myself. Those are cliche statements that we hold, but really, as an entrepreneur, those could damage you because you need people, you need customers, you need collaborators, you need peers, and you need people to work with.
You need funding and everything, all of that.
So if you don't know how to work with each other, most of the time we got this island mentality, and the island mentality, you would die on the island by yourself. So one major breakthrough that a lot of people have is like, oh, I need people, or I can't just be in the back of my house on a computer and think I'm gonna blow up. Versus you got to get out and collaborate, and that's what makes Hope so dope to me, is because we have a community of entrepreneurs, a community of people who want to be entrepreneurs, a community of folks that support entrepreneurs, so that if I have ideas, or if I need a photographer, there's 3 in the class, or if I need some clothing, there's 1 over there, or in after class, you hear them all exchanging ideas and collaborating, and that's how you stay strong. And I think that's one of the powers, the superpowers of Hope and an entrepreneur in general.
And that's a major part of what Hope Academy in Oakland is doing. It's what you stand on. I want to talk more about that. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back here on Talk of the Town, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. I'm Dave Clark, and I'm so glad you're with us. My guest, we're talking about an organization in Oakland called
The Hope Academy.
See, I wanted to let you do the big announcement thing. The Hope Academy and the things that you want to do with Hope Academy. Do you have one big wish? Now, I know you work with entrepreneurs of all ages, of all races in the city of Oakland. Is there one big wish you want to happen through Hope Academy?
Yeah, I want us to take responsibility. I want us to see that we can actually build our schools better. We can make better schools. We can make better hospitals. We can make better communities. We can actually design our own city. Right? We don't have to wait for acceptance. We don't have to wait for someone to say that we're valuable. And I think one of our goals was that if we can create entrepreneurs who are creating and building, then we can solve a lot of our own problems, right? I don't want to be in the conversations with other people, asking them to accept us, apologize, or please. I don't really want to be in those conversations. Yeah. And mind you, like I said, we don't focus on who we don't dislike. I don't focus on anti anybody. But I really want to be in a space where we just really focus on, we have the power to change all this. And I think what happens is that when you've been dependent on somebody else for so long, you get addicted to the dependency. Yeah. And after a while, you forget how to do for yourself.
Yeah.
And so my greatest desire and greatest wish is that the work I put in right now will change the ground my children will walk on.
Yeah, interesting. Courtney, pick up on that. Your thoughts.
I'm on that same page. It's ownership. Ownership. We preach at Hope radical responsibility, and that means I own everything around me, and that includes the trash that's in front of your lawn and in the neighbor's area and around you, and the radius around you. And
You're responsible.
We're responsible, because if we took that ownership and everyone in our community took that ownership, Oakland will look different. Instead of sitting waiting for parachutes to fall from the sky of help, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but if we all took that ownership, things will get cleaned up a lot faster. We would take control or ownership of calamities that's happening in our community. So from an entrepreneurship perspective, it's a tool you need, ownership, radical responsibility. But as a human, if you take it, it'll make Oakland a better place, let alone the world. So I think that's one of the keys, like one of my wishes, because we have been so subsidized as a community that those muscles are actually weak. So then what we get, we think we deserve.
Yeah.
Versus being grateful for what you have, but taking responsibility for everything. And that's what we preach a lot. And life changes from that perspective. When somebody comes up to you and say, hey, what you staring out in the ocean for? The ship ain't coming. Mm-hmm. Once it clicks that the ship ain't coming, then you immediately take that responsibility and you got to do something.
Ingenuity.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We're talking about this. One of the reasons I wanted to talk about this, I've been in conversations with people, and I've asked them, do you think the city of Oakland will survive? Mm-hmm. The businesses that are hurting, that are crying, that are saying, if they don't keep me and my business safe, we won't pay taxes, the police won't protect us, we see the rampant crime. Can Oakland survive?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think that question assumes there's a destination, an ending point. We're in a constant continuum.
Yeah.
Right? And so, COVID came along and it upset the norm of the past.
Yeah.
And right now we're seeing the destruction of the past and the birth of the new. And so that's why it's so important, in our entrepreneurial class, we're showing people how to think forward, not, have sadness about what used to be, right? And so I think that's
a big deal.
It's human beings, we hate change,
Yeah.
right? And so as an entrepreneur, it's like, well, what opportunities is this yielding? Like currently we're about to move into a new space for IT Media, the business side, right? An iconic location in Jack London Square, on second floor, 3,600 square feet with 12 employees. And this space, if we would have rented that space, say, at the height of the economy, it may have cost us maybe, $15,000 a month. We're paying almost half of that, right? Mm-hmm. And that's because the economy, so that gives us a chance. It changed. So that allows us to reposition our business in even a more aggressive role and a more aggressive position. So as the economy starts to rebirth itself, we're positioned well. Also, let me say this too. I don't know if anybody's actually got in their car and drove around downtown Oakland at nighttime. It is actually thriving. It's actually thriving.
Yeah. Often I'm in bed by that time because I have to. But
absolutely, but
there
it's thriving.
Are areas of it.
Oh man, there's people out. There's a lot of professionals out. There's people now. Unfortunately, when I was 18, I think Oakland was 50-something% black.
Yeah.
I think we're the third largest group now. So we're like 22, 20, 23.
Gentrification and other.
Right. And so, but I think, the focus on crime is not seeing the bigger picture of Oakland. Oakland has so many individuals. Also, we have a lot of young entrepreneurs in the city that are coming up with so many new great ideas and they're really thriving. So I think that you're about to see a new economy designed a different way, and we're just missing the old.
Go ahead.
I'll say this too, is that we get to kind of see it from an incubator's perspective.
Yes.
We get to see these young entrepreneurs and their businesses and their ideas and help nudge them and guide them. So it almost like we can see it happening. And anytime there's calamity, there's great trauma, but there's also great innovation.
Yeah.
It brings great innovation because people become more creative because they have to. We always been known. The town, talk of the town, that's the name of this. The town has always been an innovative, creative place where everyone came to get ideas, extract ideas from, because we're such a creative community. So now we turn it inward on ourselves. And we can make it happen. I see it on social media. I see people stepping up and saying, hey, stop this. No more bipping. Or, I see different people who have that radical responsibility stepping up and saying, all right, I'm going to control this. Y'all ain't coming over here. And I think as more pop up, I think we got a chance, more than a chance.
We're going to wind down quickly, Nana. Someone wants to find out about Hope Academy. How do they do it?
So you can go to there's a website, 510media foundation.org, right?
Okay.
And
we put it on our screen for you,
Oh,
too.
yeah, okay. Yeah, so 510mediafoundation.org, right down here. And we're also on YouTube. So if you look us up on YouTube, and the last 2 years of our classes are actually online for free.
Thank you both. Nana Kofi, Courtney Smith, Hope Academy in Oakland. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Talk of the Town.